The damage to my bank account is strong, but who cares? Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten, and as you can see from the stack of books behind me, we have a rather large book haul to get through, and that's the only intro I'm going to do. You know what a book haul is, and we have a lot to get through. Starting off with probably some of my favourite books, and I'm so excited, and that's the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. This one is The Assassin's Blade. This is the prequel that is a series of short stories, and I love this series. It's a young adult series. We're following Selena, and the first 3 books are so tropey. It's exactly what you would expect from YA at that time. It was just so much fun, and then from the 3rd book everything starts picking up pace. It gets really expansive. We're in a world of fae, but you don't have just fae, you have witches and shapeshifters, and there is this big war against basically good versus evil going on, and I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. My paperbacks, however, are falling apart, so I treated myself to the brand new hardbacks that came out, and I am so happy with them. I love these. I love these so much. So yes, I pre-ordered all of them and I'm very happy. So I'm going to quickly show through all of the covers for you. So this is The Assassin's Blade, as I mentioned. Beautiful. They don't have anything underneath the dust jacket. It's a simple just colour which matches the end papers, but it doesn't bother me too much because I love them. I love them. We then have Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight. I really like this colour scheme. I think it's fantastic. Heir of Fire, and this is where we start getting little tidbits to what's going to happen in the books, which I really like. Queen of Shadows, also where they start getting a bit chunkier. Empire of Storms, again, love this colour combo. Tower of Dawn, which is kind of like a companion to the rest of the series. I do want to do a read where I read both this one and Empire of Storms at the same time. There's a word for it. Tandem read. But yeah, I really am looking forward to that because the events of these 2 books take place at the exact same time. And I think I'd prefer it doing it that way because I read Tower of Dawn on its own last time and I've only read it the once and I found it really slow. But I think if I'm reading them side by side, I would find it more interesting because it's broken up with what's happening in Empire of Storms. That's the plan. And then the chunker, Kingdom of Ash, and I love this cover so much. It's absolutely beautiful. So yes, that was my little treat to myself because I love this series so much. It is one of my favourites. It's my go-to whenever I'm feeling down or just in general. I normally reread this series once a year or once every other year. At the minute, because of me doing YouTube and reading so much more, I haven't had a chance to read it last year, but I am going to be doing a reread this year. I love this series so much. But with that out of the way, we still have these 2 stack of books to get through, so let's get through this. First up, a book you've seen me talk about recently is A Dowry of Blood. Oh, I should have said, all of these books actually have been brought between January and February. The damage to my bank account is strong, but who cares? But yes, the one that you've seen me talk about a lot recently is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I read this for the Romantasy Readathon, which I found out through Jan. I'll have her channel linked below. You've heard me talk about her a lot. I love her channel, and this is one of her favourite books. And so I read this for Jan because I was on Jan's team of monster lovers and I loved this book. It's a Dracula inspired retelling. We're seeing this from the perspective of one of Dracula's brides, and it is a beautiful, poignant story, but also so heartbreaking. It is a look at the toxicity of love and how easily it can be to be manipulated. Check your trigger warnings going into it, although this book does have a list of trigger warnings at the start, so that's really handy if you can see that before you start it. I just thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed this. I did tab it. I had a 3-tab system going on. We have light blue for depression, purple for just quotes that I love or things that I found powerful, and then blue for manipulated by Dracula. I think this book is stunning. There could have been so many more things to tab in this, and I definitely cannot wait to do a reread to explore different concepts going into this book. But as a first read, I think those 3 tabs were the ones that I wanted to focus on. But yeah, this was amazing. In January, we had the half price hardback sale happening in Waterstones. technically it was end of December, but it did last a few days into January as well. And I picked up The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. This is a book I've already read. I read it as an ebook and I fell in love with it. I thought it was fantastic. Again, looking at toxicity of love, relationships, power dynamics between men and women, I thought it was fantastic. This is a book I want to reread and tab. I think it was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. I loved it so much, and that is a topic that I quite like reading about, with the power dynamics between men and women, and this one had cult vibes going for it as well. I really, really enjoyed it, so wanted a physical copy and it was half price, so it made sense. We then have a book I picked up for £2, which is awesome, and that's the Rabbitback Literature Society, and this one is by, I'm really sorry I'm going to butcher this name, so I'm just going to say the first name, and that's Cosy, and this is a Finnish book and it has been translated by Lola M. Rogers, and this is a book I picked up because somebody said it reminded them of Vita Nostra, which I loved that book. I want to get a physical copy of it. I thought it was fantastic. And this one is another one where it's Dark Academia-esque. We have secret societies. It sounds really peculiar and bizarre, and I'm so excited to give this one a try. I'll quickly do the synopsis because I haven't read this one, and also do the first line. So I do that with books that I haven't read yet, but all of the books I've showed you, I've already read. Oh, I should have probably said a bit more about this one. This one we're following a woman as she goes back to the college that she used to go to because one of her friends has passed away, and previously another one of her friends had passed away, and she is trying to find out what has gone on, what's happened. She doesn't believe what the media is saying about a suicide, and so she goes to investigate, and so we're seeing her go back to it and flashbacks to the cult that she ended up getting caught up in, by the way. But this one, we have the society is an elite group whose members must be very special and very talented. Ella is a literature teacher and the possessor of beautifully curving lips. When she starts trying to unearth the truth behind the society, Ella finds a lot more than she bargained for. What is the game? Why are the words inside books rearranging themselves? Hence the link to Vita Nostra. And what explains the strange disappearance of an author in a whirlwind of snow? It just sounds like it's going to be really weird and unusual, and weird dark academia seems to be my vibe. I liked Bunny, I liked Vita Nostra. I'm hoping I like this one. And the first sentence. The reader was at first surprised, then shocked, as the criminal Raskolnikov was abruptly slain in the middle of the street, right before her eyes. That's good. I really want to read this one soon. I am so desperate to read this one. Then we have a book that I picked up thrifted in a book swap that's in my local Tesco's, and that is The Monster by Seth Dickinson. This is the second book in a series, starting off with The Traitor, or if they're in the US, it's The Traitor Barrel Cormoran. This is a series I picked up because of Reagan over at Peruse Project. She said how much she loved it, said it was like a main character that's Tyrion Lannister with the politics and everything, but make it women. So yeah, I wanted it. And then I found the second book, Thrifted. I haven't read the first book. I don't know if I like it, but you can't pass up that. Plus this is in really, really good condition, so I couldn't pass up the second book in a book swap. Like, how could you say no to that? But yeah, I'm really, really intrigued by this one. I kind of want to do the first sentence because I know I haven't read The Monster, and I'm probably not going to The Traitor, this is The Monster. Probably not going to for a little while. Every time I keep meaning to pick it up, I just keep putting it off. So I think the first sentence won't actually spoil much, and I probably would have forgotten by the time I get around to reading it. And this one says, as the firestorm took his ships, as a monsoon rain of greasy incendiaries burnt his people like screaming human skewers, Abdamasi tried his very damnedness to die. Well, isn't that quite horrific? But yes, this one is, we're following Barrow, and her homeland has been taken over, and she decides to play the system and get revenge for what has been done to her people. I just know it's fantastic, and some of the decisions that Barrow makes are really quite questionable. I'm looking forward to it. Then we have a little graphic novel, which is If You're Stubby by Kaz Winnis, and I just saw this on an Instagram story, loved the cover and decided to get it. I don't know what this is about. It literally just says on the back, If You're Stubby is a collection of comic strips, gags and art parodies for teens and adults. A fan favourite character, this stab-happy unicorn deals with life's challenges the only way he knows how. Horn first. I think it's just going to be a bit ridiculous. I don't even know if I'm going to like it, to be honest, but I really enjoyed the cover of it. I think it's just going to be a fun time. I'm not expecting loads from it, but there we go. This isn't one I can really read the first sentence of because it is comic strips, so we'll just do this. Look at this. That's cool. Does anyone else do that where they just get a book for the cover and they just hope it's going to be good? Because I definitely do. The next one is The Things We Do to Our Friends by Heather Darwent, and I picked this one up because they said it was Dark Academia, so of course I decided to get it. Basically, you tell me it's Dark Academia, I'm going to pick it up. It's just something I like. What can I say? Give me a story about murder and cults and stuff and I'm there. So yeah, that's what this one is. This one is, I don't know, should we read the back? Let's read the back. When I tried to write it all down, all our misdeeds, I couldn't bring myself to cobble together a fictional account where we were normal students who did normal things. We'd known we were better than them from the start. Tabitha compared them to the fatty section around a pork chop, the bit you slice away to get to the meat. Looking back, I sometimes feel bad about what we planned, what we did, but at the time it was unavoidable as getting wet when you go outside on a stormy night. That sounds really good. It makes me really intrigued because that gave nothing away apart from the fact they did something they shouldn't have, which that's what Dark Academia is, isn't it? But let's see, it says, 3 girls danced in front of him. Have to admit, that's probably not the best start of a short sentence. I mean, it was a short sentence of a first sentence for something that is Dark Academia-esque, but I am really excited. This takes place in Edinburgh University, and we're following Claire as she gets sucked into a circle of friends with their Disneyland world of champagne and summers in France. It's going to be interesting. Also, I really love this cover. I think it's fantastic. Another Dark Academia, we have The Cloisters by Cathy Hayes, and this is one that I had my eye on because, again, Dark Academia. I think the cover is stunning, but what's even more stunning is these edges. And this one has things to do with tarot in it, which is, again, another reason why I wanted it. Also stunning end pages. Love that. But we're following Anne, and she arrives in New York. She's hoping to spend the summer working at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Instead, she's assigned to the Cloisters, the Met's Gothic Museum, and its garden renowned for medieval and Renaissance collections. She's drawn to a small circle of charismatic but enigmatic researchers, each with their own secrets and desires. Eager for the approval of her new colleagues, Anne is only too happy to indulge in some of their more outlandish theories. It's going to be really interesting. She finds herself at the centre of a dangerous game of toxic friendship and unbridled ambition. Sounds absolutely fantastic. Again, Dark Academia, sign me up. I want to read all of it. But the first line is, "Death always visited me in August." Now that's the first line. I think that was excellent. Also, sorry about the lighting. I use natural lighting and the clouds are not playing ball. Then we have The Witcher, The Last Wish, and this is the illustrated version, and this is by Andrzej Sapkowski. Again, I'm really sorry about pronunciations. And this is a book I picked up because I really liked The Witcher TV show, thought it was fantastic, and I do believe that TV show is based around this first book, and it has a collection of short stories. We're following the Witcher, who is a monster slayer, and I love this illustrated version. This is a book that I've been thinking about getting for a little while, but constantly just put off, thinking I'm not sure if it's for me, but I'm really wanting to give it a try. And then I had a flick through this illustrated edition and thought it was absolutely stunning, so decided to pick it up. And I'm hoping to read it soon so that I can get the rest of the books in this illustrated edition if I really like it, because again, I think they are fantastic. Originally published in Polish, and then it has been translated by Youre Stubby. Again, I'm really sorry about pronunciation. I'll have the name up here. But yeah, I'm really intrigued by this. I think it's fabulous. So hoping to read that soon. We really went hard on the hardbacks this time. Another one we have is Lost in a Moment and Found, and this is by Shauna Maguire. This is the most recent in the Wayward Children series. This is the 8th book, and I love this series. It's a portal fantasy series. series. Depending on the books that you're following, depends on whether they're prequels or continuations from the first book, but we are following different children that fell into different portal worlds, such as Alice when she went into Wonderland, but it follows what happens when they come back. In the first book we have a murder that's taken place. They're all really short. They focus on a lot of different things about what it is to fit in, what it is to be treated differently. Each book has its different theme that Shauna Maguire is focusing on. Not everyone can get on with it, and I fully understand that, but I really enjoyed these books and love them. So yeah, had to get the newest one out. Then we have Gideon the Ninth, and this is by Tamsin Muir, and I got this one because I picked up the second book at the end of last year for 99p. And so I had to get the first book because I haven't even read this series. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I hope I'm going to like it. I want to read more sci-fi this year. And this is one that I picked up because of Sylvie over at the TBR Diaries. I'll have her channel linked below. And she talked about this book, spoke about how much she loved this series. So much so that when I saw the second book for 99p, I decided just to pick it up. And then I thought, I actually need the first book, so I went out and got the first book, and yeah, I'm really excited. I don't know too much what this is about. This is necromancers in space, add a sprinkling of gay into it. Sounds fantastic. So I'm gonna read the first sentence. And this one says, in the meridic year of our Lord, the 10,000th year of the King Undying, the kindly Prince of Death, Gideon Nav packed up her sword, her shoes, and her dirty magazines, and she escaped from the house of the Ninth. Interesting. I think it's actually going to be quite a fun read. Like, I'm expecting a little bit of humour from that, but we'll see. I'm excited to give this a try. Another book I picked up for 99p, we have The Wolf and The Woodsman, and this is by Ava Reid. Again, this wasn't a book I was actually going to be reading anytime soon or even thought about reading, but it was 99p. Always check the sale section of Food and Planet because they have some amazing deals. This one was 99p because it's damaged. Tell me, where is this damaged? But hey, I'm not arguing with it. And this one is, in her forest-veiled pagan village, Vicky is the only woman without power, so when the soldiers from the Holy Order of the Woodsman arrive to claim a girl for their king's blood sacrifice, she is betrayed and surrendered. But when they are attacked en route to the capital and everyone but Vicky and a lone woodsman are slaughtered, they have no choice but to rely on each other, except he's no woodsman, he's the disgraced prince, Gaspar Barony, whose father needs pagan magic to consolidate his power. As they travel from the bitter northern tundra to the smog-choked capital, they form a tenuous pact that slowly turns their loathing to affection. But trust is easily betrayed, and as Vicky discovers her own hidden magic, she and Gaspar must decide where their loyalties really lie. Sounds really good. That lighting just went eerily dark and it's a bit creepy. The trees have to be tied down by sunset. You know what? The whole sun thing going on with these clouds coming in and out right now. Bit spooky, but whatever. We're getting there. I promise we're getting there. The next book is God Killer by Hannah Kenner, and how could I say no to this stunning cover? And what sealed the deal even more? These end pages. Look how stunning that is. This was one of my anticipated releases for January anyway, and I'm really hoping I get a chance to read it soon. Seriously, this lighting, but I am really excited. We're following Kissen, and Kissen is a god killer. Kissen's family were killed by zealots of a fire god, and now she's making a living killing gods and enjoys it. That is, until she finds a god she cannot kill. Scaly god of white lies has somehow bound himself to a young noble, and they are both on the run from unknown assassins. Joined by a disillusioned knight on a secret quest, they must travel to the ruined city of Belandrian, where the last of the wild gods reside, to each beg a favour. Pursued by demons and in the midst of a burgeoning civil war, they will all face a reckoning. Something is rotting at the heart of the kingdom, and only they can be the ones to stop it. It sounds really good. It's actually a standalone, and considering how short it is, I'm really intrigued to see how well that's going to be done. The first sentence is, her father fell in love with a god of the sea. Ooh, nice. And we do have a lovely map. Honestly, fantasy books with maps are just, yes, that's what we need. Then we have two books that I picked up at a book swap that's at my work. And this is a murder mystery series that is a middle grade series. But I really like murder mysteries and I wanted to try this series for a little while, so when I found the first 2 books there I couldn't say no. So the first one, I believe, is Murder Most Unladylike, and this is by Robin Stevens, and then we have Arsenic for Tea, and this is where we're following a murder that's happened at the school. Daisy and Hazel set up a secret detective agency at Deep Dean School for Girls, and they can't find a truly exciting mystery to investigate. However, Hazel then discovers the body of the science mistress, Miss Bell, but when she and Daisy return 5 minutes later, the body has disappeared. Now the girls have to solve a murder and prove the murder happened in the first place. So that's going to be really interesting, and if I like it, I have the second book ready to go. Like I say, I like mystery books. I want to see, because I like YA mystery books, I like adult mystery books, I really want to see if I like middle grade mystery books. So we're going to see. We then have a book that I won in an Instagram giveaway, and that is The King of Crows by Libba Bray. This is the 4th book in the Diviner series. I've read it and I was really disappointed. It's a shame because I loved the first 3 books. This is a series of books that takes place in 1920s New York. There is occult themes, there's murders happening. It's really good. It builds up really well, and we get a really raw look at what it was like to be in America during the 1920s, looking at segregation, how people were treated for being gay or black or Chinese American. I just think it was really, really well done. But this 4th book was just too drawn out. It's 300 pages too long, and for that I just lost the feeling and investment that I had for this series. So that's a bit of a shame. The Promised Boys by Nick Brooks. Again, Dark Academia. You get the idea by now. And this one is a YA one. This says, the Urban Promise Prep School vows to turn boys into men as students JB, Roman and Trey are forced to follow the prestigious programme's strict rules. Extreme discipline, they've been told, is what it takes to be college bound, to avoid the fates of many men in their neighbourhoods. This, the Principal Moore method, supposedly saves lives. But when Moore ends up murdered and the police come sniffing round, the trio emerges as the case's prime suspects. With all 3 maintaining their innocence, they must band together to track down the real killer before they are arrested. Sounds really good. Obviously it's a YA thriller, but it has been said that it also has Dark Academia vibes. We know that's something that I really enjoy. Rumour has it, a student brought a gun to school the day of the murder. Dun dun dun. I think that actually sets the tone really well. I like that. Oh, this also is the Waterstones exclusive with the sprayed edges. We're nearly there, I promise. We then have Pandora, and this is by Susan Stokes Champman, and this is one that I picked up in Tesco's for £5. This is a Greek myth retelling all about the Pandora myth. So we're following Dora Blake lives with her uncle in what used to be her parents' famed shop of antiquities. When a mysterious Greek vase is delivered, Dora is intrigued by her uncle's suspicious behaviour and enlists the help of Edward Lawrence, a young antiquarian scholar. For Edward, the ancient vase is the key to unlocking his professional future. For Dora, it's a chance to restore the shop to its former glory and to escape her nefarious uncle. But what Edward discovers about the vase has Dora question everything she's believed about her life, her family, and even the world as she knows it. So it is a historical fiction based retelling. And the first sentence, this is all set in 1798 by the way. He had not allowed for the wait. Not the best start, I'm not going to lie, but I am intrigued nonetheless. We then have The Copper Promise by Jen Williams. I actually wanted to get the second book in the Ninth Reign series by Jen Williams, but they didn't have that one, and so I picked up the first book in her first series instead. The Ninth Reign is a adult fantasy series that I really enjoyed. I started it last year, and this one is her first ever series. I'm just going to say what's on the back because I haven't read this. There are some tall stories about the caverns beneath the citadel, about magic and mages, monsters and gods. Widrin of Crosshaven has heard them all, but she's spent long enough travelling caverns and taverns with her companion Sir Sebastian to know that there's no money to be made in chasing rumours. Then a crippled nobleman with a dead man's name offers them a job. Explore the citadel's darkest depths. It sounds like just another quest with gold and adventure. If they're lucky, they might even have a tale of their own to tell once it's over. I think it's going to be fun. I'm intrigued. It's her first series. I don't know if I'm going to like it as much as Ninth Reign, but I feel like it's going to have a bit more fun to it. So we'll see. But the first sentence is, all the other cells in the dungeon stank of fear, but not this one. Sounds good. I really do hope there's dragons in it. That would be really cool. Then some cozy mysteries. We have Shady Hollow by Janu Black, and this is a cozy mystery slash fantasy. And this one is one that I picked up because of a reader in review. I will have her channel linked below. I love her channel, love the aesthetic of it all, think it's perfect, and she has been talking about these books, and so I decided to pick one up. And this one is: in the woodland community of Shady Hollow, you'll discover a secret. Moose and mice, owls and bears live side by side in civilised harmony. Shady Hollow has a coffee shop and a bookshop, a haberdashery and a bank. All is well until the town's querulous toad shows up dead. I think that sounds great. It's a murder mystery, it's cozy fantasy, it's going to be a good time. And the first sentence is, oh, that's really cool. Look at that map. That map is cute. Up in the far north, away from everything you know and dream about, lies a small village called Shady Hollow. I think it's going to be so lovely. Definitely saving that for when I need that coziness. Then we have The Pig in the Derby Hat, and this is by M.A. Knight. I've read this one, I really liked it. I read it as an ebook and wanted to get a physical copy. I've spoken about this in my cozy fantasy book recommendations. I really loved this book. I thought it was absolutely delightful. It's a cute little mystery that's going on, and it's a bit paranormal-esque, and that's all I'm going to tell you because it's such a short little book. This is a book to read in one sitting, 40 minutes to an hour, with a nice cup of tea and some biscuits, and you're set. We then have The Charming Man, and this is by C.K. MacDonald. This is the second book in the Stranger Times series. I really like this one. It's funny, it's hilarious, it's just a good time. The first book, we are following Strange Times, which is a newspaper that reports the weird and wonderful, and people think it's a bit silly and it's not really true until it turns out that maybe it is true. And I think this one is going to have Dracula influence, so that's going to be a fun time. And in this, the first sentence is... No, I've done pretty well for the first sentence thing. Normally I've forgotten by now, but I think I've done pretty good. The Hunger. That's it, 2 words. The Hunger. Definitely Dracula then. The last 3 we have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. This is a new favourite book. I loved this. Think it's fantastic. We're following Emily Wilde. She is creating an Encyclopedia of Fairies, the world's first Encyclopedia of Fairies. Fairies are real, and she has been studying them for absolutely ages. She goes on this study trip to document the hidden ones, which is the most elusive of the fae creatures, and when she gets there, there's some bad things going on. She gets caught up in it. We also have a bit of a romance going on. It's cute and cozy. You've heard me talking about it. I love this book. Fan-frickin-tastic, and the cover is sublime. But again, we're not doing the first line of this one because I've already read it. You'll have to let me know if you want me to do the first line of books, even if I have already read it or not. Then we have Tress of the Emerald Sea, and this is by Brandon Sanderson. This was his first secret project Kickstarter book that came out. I decided to support it in a fit of madness, but I do love Brandon Sanderson books, and I decided to go for it. This is the first one. It is leather bound. It is beautifully embossed. It's got gorgeous illustrations throughout all of it. It has beautiful end papers, and this is a book that is set in the Cosmere, but it's a standalone within it, so I think this is going to be a really good introduction to the Cosmere if that's what you're interested in. Obviously I'll let you know, but from the scenes of it, this is more of an ocean themed book. So in the middle of the ocean there was a girl who lived upon a rock. This was not an ocean like the one you have imagined, nor was the rock like the one you have imagined. The girl, however, might be as you imagined, assuming you imagined her as a thoughtful, soft-spoken and overly fond of collecting cups. I think it's going to be really cute. I think this one is definitely going to be more of a whimsical book. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's stunning. He originally wrote this for his wife, and then his wife said, no, you need to publish this one. I think it's going to be fantastic, but let's get to that first sentence. Oh, look at it. It's so stunning. Honestly, this book is beautiful. But we have, in the middle of the ocean, there was a girl who lived upon the rock. So the first sentence is actually this, but I'm really intrigued, and it actually gives it that fairy tale vibe to it, which again, as we said, I'm really into that at the minute, so I think this is going to be definitely a new favourite. And the last book, no it's not, I have one book in here. This is for a stack for a different video. I'll dig that out, hang on. let's do this one first though. We have The Thorns Remains by J.J.A. Harwood, and this was my very, very first bookish box subscription, and that is the Locked Library subscription. It's book only, but they are doing some beautiful editions, and I decided I'm going to support it, and this is their very first book out, and I'm really excited for this one. This one is Fae inspired, so again fitting with the whole fairy tale folklore vibe that I'm going for this year. It's absolutely stunning end pages with sprayed edges to match, and under the dust jacket we have this. I'm really intrigued. I think it's amazing. I think the price for this is really good actually. I think it was worth it, and I'm very excited to read it to see if the books are good. But this one we are following Moira Jean. Her friends venture into the forest, her friends then go missing, they've been taken away by Fae and they are dancing, and she's got to try and get everything back, otherwise if she can't save her friends before Beltane, they will be lost forever. So I'm really, really intrigued. Yeah, I think it's just going to be lovely. I saw the book, saw the spoilers for it, and just wanted it to be lovely. We also have a note from the author in here, which I think is stunning. And she also wrote The Shadow in the Glass, which is a book I've been considering getting, which is going to be interesting to see if I like her writing then. So the first sentence is, "The sun was shining on the day of the village of Brodnik disappeared." A whole village disappeared. That's really interesting. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one. It also has a ribbon bookmark, which is really cool. I actually really love it when a book has a bookmark in it. Like, it's so handy. But yeah, my very first book box subscription. You'll have to let me know. Do you do any book box subscriptions? This is exciting. I'm happy for it. Okay, and then the last book is Sinister Spring by Agatha Christie, and I picked this one up again 2 days ago. Look how stunning this is. It's absolutely beautiful, and this is a short story collection from different detectives that Agatha Christie created. So we have short story from Hercule Poirot, from Jane Marple, Tommy and Tuppence, and many more. I'm really intrigued, and I think it's just going to be fantastic. I want to collect all the short stories in this edition because I think they're great. I have one more, and I definitely want to keep my eye out for any others that they bring out. I think it's beautiful and lovely and just perfect. I love the cover, and I want to read more Agatha Christie, so how could I say no? Okay, but that is it. There are 34 books here. I lost my mind in these 2 months, but I am so happy with the results. So yeah, that's a lot. I now need to put all these books away, but I loved it. I'm so happy with it, and I know I'm very lucky to be in this position where I can get a lot of these books, but yeah, it's great. I love it. Anyway, that's all for today. We finally did it all. I think the emoji of the day should be some shopping bags because I clearly spent some money, and I'm very happy with it even if my bank isn't. But we're at the end. So let me know, what's a book that you got recently? Have you read any of these books? Do you want to read any of these books? All the usual things. And I'm going to leave it there. So thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it that thumbs up, subscribe, and comment. Those 3 things are so important to helping this channel grow. My social media links and everyone that I mentioned will be linked below, and I will of course catch you in the next video.